Hello and welcome to the Wawazen Waterfall School. How can you avoid leaks when you build indoor waterfalls, especially when you build automated indoor waterfalls? In my career, which with indoor waterfalls, which began in 2008, so like 16 years ago, I had like two water damages with my projects, and it was in the early stages. So to 2008, so maybe 2010 or 2011, I had these two. And I'm telling you this because today I have spent like 2 hours doing leak testing with the bottom tanks. And, I just say it's leak testing, but what is it really when I do the leak testing? And after I explain you how I do the leak testing, I will also explain you how to avoid water damages that are not connected to your parts, because those water damages which I have experienced, they came very probably because of the pipe connections between the bottom tank and technical tank. But let me just show you what I did today regarding the leak testing. So first, I'm filling the whole container with water. After it's filled, I'm doing the blue paper test. So I go here at the welding seams with the blue paper, and I immediately can see if there is water exiting or not. So first, filling the container, doing the blue paper test, and then emptying the container again. After the container is emptied, then I dry the inside of the container. I again use blue paper, and for the rest of the water I use like a hair dryer to really remove all the water. Then I'm using a cleaner, a special cleaner for the sealing material, and then I'm cleaning these welding seams from the inside. And after I have used the cleaner, I dry it again with a paper, and then I'm putting the acrylic sealing there. So it's multiple steps. So I know that this container, it is waterproof. It has been waterproof anyway because the weldings of Tommy are like 99% waterproof, but I'm doing two additional steps. I'm making a real leak test with water, and after that I'm putting some sealing on it. So these containers are waterproof. But if you have a setup, and I will just explain you the two water leaks which were pretty annoying, because suddenly there was humidity in the walls, and then the customer says, oh, where does it come from? Nobody knows where it comes. Nobody knew where it come from. And in both cases they couldn't find out, because, and I just can say what my assumption is where the water came from, because in case number one, it was like that. So this is like the floor, and we had an embedded bottom tank, and the bottom tank had a connection below, a stainless steel welded connection, and we also had a standing pipe here, like an overflow, security overflow. So, and this down here, it was connected to a PVC pipe, and that PVC pipe then went again through the floor somewhere. And and then after some time there was some humidity at the walls. You could see how it's wet there. It's not so much wet, but you can see there is something going on, and that's pretty annoying, because where does it come from? And second situation, very similar. Again, we had an embedded bottom tank in the floor like that, and then we had at the side a connection to a plastic pipe, which then went below the floor to a technical area. So in both situations, we could not find out where the leak was, but very, very likely it came through the plastic connections of these pipes, which were not protected during the phase of having installed them, and then the next phase where you put the concrete on the floor. So it's like 2-3 weeks these pipes, plastic pipes, they were just like lying open on the floor. And there have been a lot of craftsmen on these sites. And my assumption is that some of these guys, they just stepped on it, And when you step it or when you hit it hard, then these pipes, they can get, they can break. And the problem is that those pipes, they were isolated. So even if you step on it and you don't see if you have broken it. So this has been then like a small leak, and these are small drops. They go then out of your pipe connection, and then they're going anyways, and then they go to the walls, and this is pretty annoying. So if you want to avoid leaks, number one, of course, your parts, they need to be waterproof, 100% waterproof. But number two, that's very, very important, is that you protect the pipe and, let's say, hose connections, but those are not so critical. But the embedded pipes in the floor, they need to be protected against people and stuff that might drop on it and damage it between the time when you have installed it, or your plumber has installed these pipes, and the time when you and when then the concrete comes. So what I prefer, I like to have this outsourced to the local plumber. So they are installing these pipe connections between the indoor waterfall and the technical tank. Those pipes, they go various ways through the floor and then to the level below the floor, and there they go on the ceiling. There on the ceiling you can see those pipes, but after they have embedded in the concrete, you don't see them anymore. So there is one way to check and to control if these pipes, actually it's like two ways. Number one is you fill them with water, and then you check it like a couple of days later and see if this pipe, if the level of amount of water that you have filled in, if it's less, because then you can know that water is somewhere exiting. And the other system is, but this is, I don't know exactly how it works. The plumbers, they have like a pipe controlling air system, so they close both sides and they pump air in it, and then they immediately can find out if this connection is waterproof. So yeah, I highly recommend to do this, because if after a couple of months there are wet areas, people will call you, they will ask you, hey, your inner waterfall is leaking, and you have done your best, but how is it possible that it's leaking anyway? So in order to avoid it, number one, make your parts really waterproof. Be very mindful when planning and constructing the whole thing, and check the connections between the area in the technical tank, the plastic connections, which I've just talked about them, and protect them while they are exposed before they are embedded. And after they have been embedded, again, control them with air pressure or just fill them with water to be sure that these are waterproof. So I hope this helps you avoid unnecessary frustration. Please subscribe to my channel and share your insights and recommendations